So a lot of those girls from the 18 are Timberwolves players.
Good evening, everyone. It's the October 27th meeting of the SAU 106 Timberlane Regional School District Budget Committee. Welcome, everyone. We'll start with the roll call, if you would, please. Carrie?
All right, Christy Eclair. Here. Catherine Consalvo.
She's absent, marked absent.
Absent. Sierra Dulce. Yes, here. Julie Hammond.
She will be late, so she's excused.
Elizabeth Costa.
She will not be here, but she's excused.
Michael Mascola.
Here.
Todd McCormick.
He's absent, excused.
Sue Sherman.
Here.
Karen White. Here. Mark Sherwood.
Here.
Beautiful.
Pledge of Allegiance. Sarah, would you mind leading us?
I pledge allegiance
To the
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And as I often do, I'd like to give you my quote for the night. Tonight's quote is from Helen Keller. I thought this one would be appropriate for tonight. Alone we can achieve so little, but together we can achieve so much. So, thank you, Miss Keller. Approval of minutes, if we could. Our paperwork came through a little bit late this week, so I will give you a couple extra minutes to look over those minutes, if you didn't get a chance to today. Very nicely done on the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 13th minutes.
Mike makes a motion. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Who did I didn't see who did that.
Me, Christie.
Oh, Christie. Christie seconds. Are you ready to vote?
I'm a slow reader, hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Just get them on the floor.
Go.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstain. 5, 0, 1. Okay, any correspondence?
No.
I have had quite a few emails today, but nothing that I think we want to read out loud. Any delegates and individuals? If not, we'll go right to our administration report. Do we have a superintendent's report or
Yes.
anything from your
So
headquarters?
the superintendent is sick. He excuses himself. He really feels bad not attending to tonight's meeting because he was presenting his SAU budget. I am going to present his budget on his behalf. He did give me a report. Him and the assistant superintendent gave me a report. The first item there is that actually I reached out to the Department of Education to see if they were willing to come and speak to us about the voucher program. To my surprise, they responded saying that actually the commissioner wants to come to speak to us about the voucher program.
The Commissioner of Education.
So he
Okay.
is going to be coming. I asked him if he could come on December 8th, which is our combined meeting with the school board. Unfortunately, he's not available that night. And as you can imagine, his schedule is extremely, extremely busy. So I
You did
just.
tell them this is SAU 106.
Yeah, at Timberland.
Yes. So actually today I got an email saying that he can come on December 15th.
December
at 7 o'clock,
15th.
which is actually a school board meeting. I have reached out to the school board to see if we can put it in the agenda. I mean, is the commissioner, I cannot.
Yeah, no, understood.
I'm trying to go with whatever he can offer us.
Did he give an idea as to how long he would like to be in front of us for?
No, he has not
Okay.
say
Not a problem.
anything about that. He knows it's about the voucher program. When I spoke to the finance person at the Department of Education, which is the person that I reached out to, he was actually going to come and speak to us about not only the voucher program, but I thought it will be beneficial to give us the total, the whole adequacy aid explanation and how it works, so the new members can have a good understanding and will be more like an educational program. So, like I said, I just got the email this afternoon, so I haven't reached out to Mark, which is the financial person, to see if he could also come and give us that part as well, or if the commissioner, I don't know
Okay.
how they work.
Was there somebody else from the school board that was still coming? The school board association?
We reach out to both. The feeling that I have gotten with the people that I have spoke about the voucher program is a very political and controversial subject.
Really?
So,
I'm sorry.
so I don't,
No
that's
comments
where I
from the peanut
think
gallery.
people are a little hesitant to make public appearances about it. I am actually very surprised. I'm quite honored that the commissioner is willing to
Well,
come.
if
because-
it's back in the school board's agenda, it's not a meeting of us,
Right.
that we would, if the school board chair and the committee decide to invite and accept his RSVP, that would not affect our meeting schedule, but obviously, we are certainly welcome to go to that meeting and hear his presentation.
I will officially invite the entire committee
Thank you.
to attend
Yes.
as a
And
reference
what
school
is the
board.
date on that again?
December 15th.
15th.
December 15th.
So, it's in there, it's in the school board's court to decide, but that's,
Yes, and I
wow.
will-
I-
And again,
Shocked.
they don't even know. They don't even know. I'm just announcing it now. I got the email this
Well, if anyone
afternoon,
out there's listening, you could have the
And-
commissioner here.
and they don't even know. So I'm glad that we couldn't make it work. And I mean, I have to work the details with them, but I want to make it a very informational session for
Were
everybody.
you surprised that,
Yes, because like I said, I reached out to Mark, which is wonderful. He's a very good person. He has helped us a lot with all our backup stuff and everything that we have going through. And he was very happy to attend. I was with him in a conference a couple weeks ago, and he said he was actually going to ask his boss if she wanted to come. And then he told me actually the commissioner wants to come.
so, just a quick side note for, I think, you and Mark. If it's gonna be a joint meeting,
No, it would not be a joint meeting.
Not a joint.
It would
well, I'm
not
sorry,
be a
if
joint
it's gonna be a meeting of the school board, and you're gonna have the budget people there and the commissioner, this could be
A smaller
potentially
venue, yeah.
a small
We
venue.
would larger
Yeah.
venue, we
Yeah.
would need,
So I'm thinking
That's
it
okay.
needs to be
The pass?
someplace else.
Yeah, I can.
Yep.
For the possibility of it taking a crowd, because what would be worse than having your speaker, but we can't host the public?
Should look at like the PAC schedule, that's music.
Yeah,
The
I
month
can
of December
take a
is
look.
full of music
I can
presentations.
take a look at the park or maybe
The high school.
the high school.
Even if you could use the library at the
We have the
high
park
school,
director
or the
right here.
library at the middle school,
Right.
a slightly larger venue that's comfortable to sit in. That PAC, not that I don't love the PAC, I do, but if there's only
Few
40 of us
attendance,
there, then
yeah.
it's like.
Cavernous, yeah.
The
Sure.
cave,
Yeah,
a
the
library
might
setting
be
would
a
be
better-
much more, I don't know, warmer.
So if we get this
But
book.
it's not our job to set that.
No, your point is very well
And if we
taken.
get it
We'll work on
booked-
it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be worth it trying to get it on the 10 network or just advertise it so the community knows this is who's coming to speak
Yep.
on the topic.
Yeah,
So advertise it however we can.
yeah, we can ask Ken if we can also put it on social media
Okay,
and
yep,
advertise it.
let's move on.
will-
Anything
yeah.
else in your report?
Yes, so today marks the 40th operational day of our district. Timberland Regional School District continues to bargain for 4 of our 6 unions that operate in the district. The TTA and the TSSU have issued statements that negotiations have reached an impasse. The Timberland Regional School District admin team is scheduled to host a CLM, the Center for Life Management, in November for a presentation on all crisis teams and continuing to improve collaborative efforts to support students and families engaged with both organizations. The high school is hosting admin representatives from UNH in late October as a site visit aligned to our application for consideration to host students interns. Region 10 towns are meeting together in late October to begin the process of aligning to HB 1661, which essentially requires no more than 10 conflicting school calendar days among the sending towns for the technical school. So because we send our students to Derry and Salem, there's a new House bill that says that we cannot have more than 10 conflicting days in the calendar. So we're gonna be meeting about that. On November 8th, Rho Kappa is hosting the annual Veterans Brunch at the high school. A high school alum will be added to the grad wall, and students will have the opportunity to hear the stories of participant veterans. Cool. That's the report.
Thank you, and we hope superintendent gets well equipped. Reports of committees. CIP, where are we with that, Christie? Anything?
Our last report, there's been no meeting since our last report.
There
So the
hasn't.
Suggestions, no, the last was, we ended it with the suggestions of taking the prioritized items from the, performance contract. So we had them come back, prioritize those, picked, I think, the top 3 or 4, and, gave those to the board.
Yeah, we divided them based on their recommendations for priorities for year number 1 and priorities for year number 2. Additionally, I actually went to Atkinson Academy this morning and met with Carl to take a look at the tables. Yeah, I mean, it seemed.
But that's not CIP.
Oh, that's right, I'm
That's
confused.
budget, don't-
Sorry, I'm conflating.
Stop your.
Slap.
stop. No slapping. I'm just wondering, is CIP done now?
So we're done till
You
April.
were done.
Yeah.
So you won't meet again until April?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Strategic plan I was not able to go to the strategic plan meeting, the last meeting they had, which was the other day. But hopefully we're moving along there. That's gonna be a longer process of meetings and strategizing as we go.
Strategery.
Yes. Now, budget committee members, anything else?
So went to Atkinson Academy today, thank you, to look at the tables simply because I know the principals came and they tried to trim their budgets as much as possible, and it's our job to, kind of take a look at that. And because of to me, higher than expected costs for replacing tables for causes that I was uncertain with, I went and Carl was kind enough to, carve some time out of his schedule to relook at those tables. They were originally presented as a safety concern, kids getting their fingers pinched, et cetera. There have actually been no reports of that happening. That being said, the tables, they have 6 existing tables that are considerably heavier and more awkward to use and maneuver, 2 of which it's essentially a 2-person job to close them, which requires somebody sticking their head in their hand into, to release a latch. So,
Head and their hand.
well, unless you
Yeah,
have
you
long
have to
arms,
kinda-
unless you have long arms, yeah. So I can certainly see the need for those 2 tables and just need to refresh my memory there were two different options he had. One, it was a cost for shipping per table, which was cheaper, and the other was having them all set at once, so I'll have to refresh my memory to see which one I think we should go with, and, we'll discuss it with the group.
Okay. Money-wise, there wasn't a heck of a lot of a difference, was there?
That's what I'm trying to remember. So option A, the tables were cheaper, but it was cost per table for
Yeah,
shipping and
it was the
handling.
shipping.
Option B, the upfront cost appeared to be more, but there was one shipping cost. So if we ended up doing all the tables, that was by far the cheaper option, if memory serves.
That's
Yeah,
as
and I-
long as we don't get stuck paying the shipping price more than one.
Correct,
That's
with
what
damaged,
If you
with
keep up,
damaged
right,
tables,
back
right.
orders,
That's the
so
problem,
we're-
is those
right.
back orders.
Which is not, now you have to be upfront and negotiate about it. We have been having a lot of those lately, so we have learned a lesson that we just.
How long would it take to, does anybody recall offhand what the two different cost options were? I don't, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's what I was looking in the notes,
We didn't put
hence
it in
my
the
slow
notes,
reading.
Let me just see if I, in my minute,
Discuss this now.
I kind of feel like it was
discuss
pretty
this
substantial, I
Should we
thought.
discuss this now?
well, it's other budget committee business, and it's about budgets we looked at last week that school board member and budget committee member wanted to pursue a little bit. It was a question. I didn't take any specific notes about the tables. Do you want, we can ask for any information, this committee can ask for any information we want and need in any format we want or need. Is that correct, Mr. Mascola? Thank you.
So in that case, could we reach out to the principal and just have him
I can
resubmit?
have a-
Perfect.
Have Maria,
Perfect.
we're requesting, if you want to make a motion, we can go through that formality if you want to do that. Request that Maria takes care of, what is it you want?
Maria, I officially request that you take care, ask the principal of Atkinson Academy for a refresh as to what the two cost points were with the two options, right, with the two bids he received.
I will definitely reach
Yeah,
out.
I
and
didn't
will
write
have a
that note
summary
down.
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
So that is my motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. Do we understand what we're requesting? You understand what I said? We have the right to ask for anything that we need and
I'm sure
get.
people will be happy to provide with the information.
I don't know if we can get dancing girls here to present the information, if you want it
That
in
was not my
form.
request for the
Okay.
record. Yeah,
Okay. You never know.
I would second it if you.
Okay. So, all in favor, letting Maria go ahead, unanimous, thank you. Thank you, 600, carried.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from, like, if you had a chance to go back after a presentation, that was a lot in that meeting 2 weeks ago, and you've had 2 weeks to kind of maybe go back over it, think about it, maybe even watch it again on active television, filming, whatever, if you wish. If you have a question, you certainly should send that message to the chair or the vice chair, so that we can get the timely answers. You know, I want you to feel comfortable with what we're gonna vote on here at the final analysis. Because we're just listening to their presentations and accepting their budgets into our file here. Nobody has said yay or nay about anything yet. We're just gathering information. Like my request about why aren't some of those audiovisual things in the tech budget?
Right.
The points I made there. I didn't ask for a formal find out. I'm just putting that kind of out there, that you have that right to ask those questions. If you don't understand something, and or you're not happy with something, okay? Remember, we represent the big us, not just the school from the town we live in.
And we encourage those questions.
Yes,
Please don't
absolutely.
ask them.
Let us get that information for us. It helps the community understand too. Okay, if there's nothing new from any other budget committee member, then I'm gonna go on to new business for the night, and we're listening to, I guess, 2 or 3 presentations, at least 3 tonight. And the first one up is Director of Athletics, Mr. Fantasia. Come on down, and he's gonna give athletics, phys ed, and health, I believe.
Good evening, thank you, folks. Yes, I am athletics, PE, and health. So I have budget summary sheets here that I was gonna start off with, if that's okay. And I have some supporting info, and I can answer any questions that you have. So, as I'm looking at our budget summary sheet, you'll see some increases and decreases. I'll start right away in that first page with increases to game expenses at both the middle school and the high school athletic lines. And what we need to make people aware of for next year and the year after. So 23, 24, 24, 25, the payment scale for paying officials has changed, and it will include mileage for all officials. Right now in 22, 23, and the history has been a flat rate, for example, $90 for varsity, $70 for sub-varsity. If you have someone coming from over 80 miles, it would be a mileage addition of the fee. Next year, that all changes, and so the template that we are using, or we are being told to use, so it's 0 to 20 miles is going to be an additional $10 for officials. 21 to 40 will be $20, 41 to 60, $30, and over 61 miles will be $40 over the flat rate of $83 for varsity and $63 for JV. So a couple of points here, just real quick to try to help people understand. There is a major shortage of officials, not just in New Hampshire, but there's a major shortage of officials. And as many of you already know, we do not decide who comes to officiate our game. The assigners assign people. So that being said, it's hard to say who's coming on what day and where they're coming from. So basically what we're looking at with the officials line is where, as ADs, we all met and we weren't told about this until it was done. So naturally, we're all sitting there saying, how do we factor that in with the unknown? So we're kind of looking at where our officials have traditionally come from.
Yeah.
And trying to kind of average that out a little bit. And we're hoping that we're right, for lack of a better word.
Those who have historically made the assignments, do they, in your estimate, historically, have they been cognizant of miles traveled, trying to keep local officials local, or is it just kind of a round robin?
So the short answer to that is yes. The problem that they're running into, I was just talking to one of the soccer officials, we're in the playoffs tomorrow, and they are down 100 soccer officials.
100.
100 soccer officials. So, for example, and this is just one sport. So, for example, when we had to make up any soccer games, we could not use Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those were already, every official was being used. So it's really kind of tough right now in a sense of gauging where that's going to come. But we'll kind of see how that works. But I just, again, I tell some of our newer athletic directors, if you just look at this, you see $83 and $63, it looks like it's less than 90 and 70. It is not. Even someone that lives in your town, if we got someone here from Plastow, they're getting a $10 increase, which means they're getting a $3 raise. That's just someone that lives here in Plastow. So, again, I won't belabor it. I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a,
May I ask a question
Sure.
about the mileage? Now, is that just from their home, wherever their home base is?
Yeah,
Or is
so-
it from wherever they happen to be on the map that day?
so everything that they do, and I'll actually explain a little more stuff about officials later in my presentation, but everything that they do is based on what their address is.
Okay.
So, and again, that'll make a little more sense later on down the road.
Thank you.
If that's okay. No, thank you.
Good question.
So again, moving along, I'll try to keep myself going here a little bit. So on that next page, under maintenance and repair for high school athletics, you see a $3,300 increase. What that actually is money was reallocated from my high school supply line. This is the field paint and the field marking that our grounds crew uses to paint all our fields and do the end zones and all that. We moved that money out of supplies, and it was in different areas of our budgets, and we thought it would be smarter if we just streamlined it into maintenance and repair, and that's just where it will go for them. So you'll see an increase there, but later on, you'll see a decrease somewhere else. It's a reallocation. There's an increase of $3,400 in our supply line for middle school athletics, And what we're doing, we're really making headway here with this, so I'm really hoping that we can continue to do this. So after next year, we will have outfitted in new uniforms all of our middle school teams. So next year, girls volleyball, spirit, and track and cross country, they're the same uniform. We plan on getting those 3 teams done. We just got basketball done this year. We've gotten a few others, softball. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we put them on the same kind of a cycle that we have for high school.
Good.
And we're getting really close, so we're hoping we can finalize that next year. We have a decrease in high school's extracurricular supplies, and part of that reason is we did reallocate money away from the supplies into maintenance and repair. So it was really just a reallocation of where we thought things really belonged. Here's the biggest one we have, and that's the information access fee line. This is our technology. And it's an increase of $14,203. That is a significant increase. Some of the things that are on here, I would like to just speak to a little bit because they're new. So, for example, Huddle we have used. Huddle is a program where we do our game film, and then we can do stats. Kids can make highlight videos for themselves. It's a great program that a lot of people use, but Huddle increased its price last year significantly. And for us to lock into a 3-year deal with them, we locked in last year so that price will not go up for the next 2 years. So that was one part of this really significant increase.
So you locked it in last year
We locked it in last year
for the next 3 years?
for the next 3. Yep. So, I'm sorry.
No, okay, so that's perhaps a misunderstanding. So that's an increase in the forthcoming year's budget that was locked in last year.
So last year, we locked it in.
Yep.
This year and next year, we will pay $6,000. We will not pay more than $6,000. And quite frankly, if they go up again, I'm not paying more than $6,000. That's my roof. So.
You say it's widely utilized. Is this for our public?
This is
our-
this is widely utilized by a lot of our sports teams, a lot of our coaches, a lot of our opponents. Our football team, for example, when they play a game, they use Huddle. They will share their videos. They'll share their film with our next opponent, and they use Huddle as well. So they will be sharing their videos. That's kind of how they do their scouting nowadays.
Is it mostly football or other
No,
sports?
no, we actually have, pretty much basketball's a big one. Lacrosse is using it. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna tell you that we probably have at least like 8 to 10 teams using Huddle. And again, the other thing that's good for it, kids can actually get on there and they can make their own highlight videos to send to colleges, and there's a lot to it. But, that's about as high as I want to go with Huddle. I really do want to talk about 2 other pieces of this, though, because these are new. Huddle we've been using for years. Final Forms and Arbiter Pay are 2 platforms that I'd like to just educate you a little bit on, if it's okay. And again, this is going to allow us to kind of work much smarter and to take a lot of the tedious paperwork burden on the nurses. And I'll start with Final Forms. Final Forms is an online platform for parents to register their kids for athletics. And what Final Forms will do is right now, we use InfoSnap as a form of our Power School. So parents register the kids, then they have to get the nurses their physicals, the nurses have to approve the physicals, then the nurses plug into their program the physical expiration date. I see a lot of people nodding. You remember this, right? So they do that, and then, just today, it happened again, then they send us hard copies of all the kids' physicals, and then my admin assistant sits down at her desk and re-inputs all of the physical dates and the expirations. And then we're about to start winter sports. So what we do, and when I say we, I mean people, what we do is we then email parents and say, your son or daughter's physical is going to run out in the middle of the season, you need a new one. Or your physical is not approved, you need a new one. what Final Forms does is the parents go online and they register their kids. They put in their medical, all the history for their kids' medical, they put it in. Goes right in and the nurses have it. They put in their physicals. The nurses approve the physical. This becomes a live, interactive platform. So now, once the nurses approve and put in the physical expiration date, for example, I can see that.
Instead of having to
It's-
recopy it and recopy it, which makes mistakes happen, right?
Amen. So I can see that. The coaches can see it. So right now, winter sports are gonna start pretty soon. So almost on a daily basis, I have winter coaches coming into my office saying, can I have an updated list to see who's approved? Because I just told little Johnny that he needs his physical. Can I see it? Final Forms, the coaches can't edit anything. They can't, and they can only see what we tell them they can see. But the beauty of Final Forms is the coach can look at whoever, basketball. He can look at all the basketball kids, and if they're, and only because I saw this in a demo, if they have a complete green circle, that means they are ready to go. If that circle's not completely green, if part of it is yellow or red, they click on the color and it tells them what they need. So this is something that a lot of schools are using now. It's gonna cut down on tons of time, and it's gonna make us more accurate. I just wanna tell you one more thing that I'm really liking about this program. It will send you, as a parent, automated emails about your kid's physical expiration date, because it keeps a running tally. If I look at your son or daughter's physical information, it says 158. You got 158 days left of being fine. And then it programs, so automatically you'll get emails like within 2 months of expiration, within 1 month of expiration. So you can get like multiple emails instead of Angelo Fantasia like stopping what he's doing and telling you an email. So again, Final Forms is something that the Athletic Directors Association is actually using Final Forms. We use it for everything now, to register for conferences, to take classes, anything that we do, we use Final Forms. So that's something that I think will benefit everyone, if we can go with that. The second piece that I wanted to talk about was Arbiter Pay. Arbiter Pay is an online digital platform to pay officials. So without going into too much detail, I'm just gonna tell you that we had almost 300 home games last year between middle school and high school. So for every one of those, I look on the Arbiter, I find out who the official is in the morning. I give these to my admin assistant. She fills out these forms on every person. Then I take these down to the bookkeeper at the middle school or the high school, and they cut checks and get ready and organize checks. Then from there, whoever's authorized to sign the checks, principals are authorized to sign the checks, for example, then they sign all the checks. And then after the checks, I take those checks, and then I go to the game, and I bring this form to the officials, and they sign off that it's them, and I give them the check. What's happening now, and it just happened again the other day, because there's such a shortage of officials, that guy's not the guy
Yeah, that
today.
comes.
So now I have to void the check, I rip up all these papers, I start this process again, and then I go back to the high school or the middle school and say, I need another check. Arbiter Pay, I go to the game, I look at the official, I verify that it's him, go back to my office, I click a button, and his money goes right to him through Arbiter Pay. Arbiter Pay deals with W-9s, Arbiter Pay deals with the taxes, Arbiter Pay deals with all that stuff. We don't deal with any of that stuff. I get an accurate reading of who you are, how much I owe you that day. As long as I know it's you, I click the button and that money goes to you. So again, it's working smarter and it's coming into the modern,
Have you
Yeah.
spoken with any other ADs that are currently using it?
yeah, they love it. They
Perfect.
love it.
Perfect.
I know
Yep.
that Mass Umpires Association has been using us for years,
It-
because my
yeah.
husband he'd say, oh, I gotta make sure Arbiter Pay is set up. And
Yep.
And I thought, well, what is that? And that's how we get paid now.
Oh, it's nothing, honey.
Every, I'm not
paid.
commenting on that part, that's not me. So again, I think those two things will make more sense in the workday of people. And I think that will pay its own dividends just by doing that.
So Huddle, $6,000, arbiter pay, and final forms make up the
That
majority
makes
of
up,
the rest.
that makes up the major point of that. Adventi was put in my budget, it's a health program for our health teachers, that was put in my budget from outside a couple of years back, it belongs in my budget.
Yep.
So,
Cool.
so things of that nature. Again, I just wanted to explain those two things to you, because that's something that you really should be aware of. Moving along, you'll see decreases, new equipment in high school athletics, we have a decrease. We have an increase in replacement equipment for high school athletics. This was another reallocation. This was another situation where we looked at our budgets and we took out of supplies, because every year we're buying new lacrosse nets, we're buying new soccer nets, we're buying new field hockey nets. It doesn't make sense. We might as well just put it in replacement equipment and keep it there. So that's where you saw a reduction, you saw a little bit of an increase, but it was really just a reallocation of the funds. And then under athletic activities, I'll try to move a little fast for you. Under athletic activities, we are minus $5,000. We had a tremendous Hall of Fame ceremony this year in September. It was awesome. Next year is not a Hall of Fame year, so we don't need, that money for that. So there's your decrease. Athletic facility usage fees, we put an increase of $3,100. I've reached out to all of the facilities that we use. It's no surprise that people are gonna go up next year. The rinks, the mountains, the pools, they're gonna go up. And then just a few more here. Transportation, I believe, is something that's set, so I can get away from that
Yeah.
a little bit.
We're actually still waiting for numbers on transportation. We've only one there for regular and two for special education. I'm trying to see if one will match the other one to go with our first option.
Well, team transportation comes out of this budget, and you're figuring it's gonna be an increase anyway.
Right, so we just factor that in, and then they'll tell us what more or less, or.
Yeah.
Decrease in middle school health supplies, decrease in middle school phys ed supplies and high school phys ed supplies, and replacement equipment. So one of the things I do want to tout, and I guess I should say, to finish that, so the increase that we would be asking for overall would be $14,720. The majority of that is in technology, and I really did want to take time to explain that. And I did want to first of all, thank all of you, but thank the teachers and the coaches, because we really had them doing some inventory and making sure, like, what do you need? Like, wants are not really here right now, it's about needs. So I just want to thank all of you.
Questions that pop into your head at this point?
Thank you.
Not,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
And if we
folks.
think of anything, we'll go through Maria and
Yep.
get that question asked to you, but thank you for coming in, Angela.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we have a music presentation from the Director of Music, Kurt Slice. Hi, Kurt, come on down.
Hi there, good evening.
Evening.
Good to see everybody. I'm very excited this year. I'll only use the word reallocation a couple times this year. And I only have a single double-sided sheet for the proposals, so I'm excited. I hope you are too. Just looking at the summary sheet, a majority of the changes that we're going to see just represent a shift in major projects for the department. We've spent time over the last few years trying to acquire additional beginning instruments, beginning band and beginning orchestra instruments, just to give students whose families aren't able to necessarily swing the rental fee through the company that we do most of our business with, sort of an opportunity to still participate in the program, especially since we've implemented a beginning band and a beginning orchestra at the middle school level. So we're in an okay place with that program, supplemented by we get some folks donating instruments here and there too from time to time, which is incredibly helpful. But between the budget and the donations, we're in a comfortable place with the instrument acquisition. So we're moving on to the next project, which is uniform replacement. So we have several types of uniforms. We've got our concert uniforms, we have dresses, we have tuxedos. We also have our marching band uniforms. This year, working towards next year, we're going to focus just on the dresses. That's something that has been brought up by the community. That's something that's been brought up by folks within the district.
Not Harry Potter fans, though.
And yeah, and we're in a position where we can start with the dresses. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to it later on in the budget. But that's a majority of where the money's coming from. The shifting is reallocating for that project change. I'll start with the budget sheet. So the first one is just a decrease in the instrument repair budget, and that's just because we have not as much of a need for major overhauls of instruments. We've been able to overhaul some of our larger instruments in the past years, so we don't quite need as much for that budget line. That's decreasing by $2,000. Another decrease is in our software line. We were able to do some upgrades to some of our software programs last year. And we've also streamlined the programs that we're using in the music department. Coming out of the pandemic, we had different teachers using different programs, and we've been able to kind of funnel it down. Smart Music has also decreased their price as well, so we've been able to reduce that budget line by around $4,800. But we're still able to have the programs that we need. So the next decrease on the top of the back side of the paper is roughly $21,500 from new equipment. And like I said, that's that reallocation from the projects of acquiring new instruments towards uniform replacement. So that's why you see the increase that you do see on the next line, around $29,500. That represents the replacement of concert uniform dresses. We've had those dresses for 20 years. We've had the concert uniforms for 20 years. We've had the marching uniforms for a lot longer than that. That's further down the road to talk about. But we're going to start with the dresses. The amount of money that we're talking about for these dresses reflects purchasing around 250 dresses, more than what we need. But when we purchase these dresses, we want to make sure that we're going to have enough different sizes and cuts and styles so that it's going to fit all of the folks that are going to wear them for the performances. That's also going to change each year as kids grow and as kids enter the program from the middle school and leave the program at the high school. So we're looking at, like I said, roughly 250 dresses, average of $100 per dress. I've looked at different companies. I haven't settled necessarily on the exact dress that we're going to go with. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk to some of the students about some of the options that are available, because if they're the ones that are going to be wearing them, we want to make sure that they're comfortable in them. We also want to make sure that whatever we decide right now is actually still available for us next year, because those styles do change from time to time. So based on the ones that we looked at, the best options were roughly $100 per dress. So that's what we're budgeting for. The next line, dues and assessment, this is the next two lines. This is just a reallocation. At one point, National Association for Music Education membership was a part of the professional development budget. Last year, that got transferred from the professional development budget to the music budget. It was put in the student dues and assessments line, so I'm just moving it from the students' dues and assessments line to the teachers' dues and assessments line. So the money's still there. That's purchasing membership in that organization for our teachers, which is required for our students to be able to participate in state and national festivals. We wouldn't have been able to have nominated the 10 students that we did for the All Eastern Festival if our teachers had not been members in this organization. Those are all of the changes that I have. Everything else is fairly consistent within the budget. Happy to address any of those things.
This is a pretty level budget. You know, if you just look at straight allocation, just moving a few things around.
Which is remarkable considering the perpetual success and shining star the music department has always been. I mean, the fact that you're able to do that is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I also have to say Kurt is probably one of the most conscious and organized.
Conscious? Conscientious.
I'm sorry, conscientious.
He's conscious.
Late, I might not be for too much longer.
It's one of those words that's hard for me to say. He's very organized, he's extremely detailed, he is always on top of his budget, and is one of those people in the district that I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate working with. So, thank you, Kurt.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Kurt. Continued success over there. We'll be looking forward to the winter concerts and
Absolutely. We're
more
gearing up.
fundraisers and,
Mattresses, November
yeah,
13th.
mattresses in November, right? Yeah.
Can you just, I saw that for the benefit of everybody that's watching, can you just say a little bit more about that program, that fundraiser?
Yeah, so that's a new one we're trying this year. It's actually, it seems like a weird thing, a mattress fundraiser, but it's actually a national company that does it, and they've been in existence for almost 20 years, and I think nationally they've been able to give about $4.5 million to school districts across the country. So it's something we signed up for this year because we're heading to Disney and travel's a little more expensive, so we wanted to provide students and their families with as many opportunities to fundraise that trip. So what it is, it's scheduled for November 13th. That's a Sunday in November. It's at the middle school. It's essentially the company offers brand new factory warranty name brand mattresses at anywhere from 30 to 50% off. And they can do that because they don't have to pay for a showroom. They don't have to pay for sales folks. They're going to come in. They're going to set up their stuff in the middle school cafeteria and lobby there. People are going to be able to come in, test them out, and then purchase from there. They have delivery, I think, within 15 miles of the school is included. Anything more than that, they've got a prorated amount. For $25, they'll haul your old mattress away. Like I said, they're brand new. They're custom ordered. It's pretty good, and the kids can actually earn a significant chunk of change towards their trip if someone purchases a mattress and references them. So we're excited to give it a shot. It's my understanding that Londonderry has the state record at 91 mattresses in a day, so let's see if we can beat that. Yeah.
So what happens with, if one of the students is referenced, you said?
Yep. Yeah, so the students, I'm actually handing them out early next week. The students have these pieces of paper that have all the information on it with their name at the bottom. So if someone shows up and says, I want to buy this queen mattress, here's the paper that this student gave me with the student's name on it. They're going to get credit for selling that mattress, so a certain percentage of that sale is going to be credited towards their travel account. So go towards the cost of their trip.
Henderson if you need a name.
Maria J. DeRoche. Yeah, so it goes to this trip, that they're going to Disney, so it goes to their travel. I think it's great.
If a name is not mentioned, does that go into a general fund that's split between the students?
Correct, yeah. So there are certain additionals to the trip that the TMA is looking to try and fund with
Perfect.
that. Like, right now, lunch isn't included, but if they're able to raise enough money
They get
through
to
the
eat.
general fund, they'll be able to help the students have extra money so they can get the lunch as well,
Perfect.
as opposed to having to spend their own money. Yeah,
Cool.
awesome.
Anything? Hi, Julie, thanks for joining us.
Sorry I'm late.
We're on the music, just finishing the music, so you know where we're at. Anything else for Kurt? If not, thanks for coming in, Kurt, and we'll see
Thank
you
you.
later.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Kurt. Good luck with the fundraiser. I went to the one in Londonderry, and I was surprised on how many people bought mattresses, and it was a really good turnout.
Well,
It was a
and the-
successful event, so I hope it works out really well for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, and the guy that is working us through this, he's like, how many of you own a mattress? People need them, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the Timberlane Middle School and their principal, Mr. Mensis. Hi.
You guys want to talk middle school life? Let's do it. So, it's not a super long summary. There's really only two major changes that are impacting the overall budget, with most of the things going down. But if you want to go right in order, probably easiest with just going through the proposal page, the summary. So the first one, and a couple of these are related to Angelo, what you talked about, increases, decreases. So I actually wrote my note there. I was like, well, that's an Angelo thing. That's an Angelo thing, but just to make sure we're all on the same page. My understanding is that since it involves the middle school, his health and PE stuff funnels through middle school, hence it's showing up on here. Make sure we're on the same page. So supply health and supply phys ed both going down. The top one there regarding new equipment for industrial tech, that's actually an increase of $1,000. And I'm excited about that because we're trying to be very careful with our use of funds. I've talked to some folks who went through the tour of the middle school, and we talked about our interest in doing some wood shop things for the middle school. Said, hey, we have STEAM classes. What about, through some creative brainstorming, what about if we try to expand the educational opportunities in STEAM class? So we're going to utilize some monies and get them some wood shop type materials and try to make it so that it works right within our existing structure. So we're very excited about that. So again, only an increase of $1,000 to get them some more wood shop type tools. The next one is new equipment in science, and that's down because last year we got the science equipment that we needed, and they didn't need to get any more. The next one in the replacement equipment for phys ed, again, that's a Angelo area where they got the equipment that they needed, don't need to get it again. And that brings us to the largest increase there, supplies co-curricular. I'd like to talk about that for a little bit, which is the first part, huge number, but for a very good reason. As I'm looking around, I'm seeing people that either had kids go on this field trip experience for the sixth graders to come in to the middle school life. It's they're coming into us for the 4 towns, to our melting pot at the middle school, and we want to figure out the best way to get them to all come together as a team, get to know their new classmates, the teachers get to know them. So we bring them to Camp Lincoln, and we've been doing it for quite some time. This year, as we were looking at it, it's been getting pricier and pricier, like most things. And we said $50 at the beginning of the year started getting pricey. It's something that we believe in so wholeheartedly, maybe we should budget for it. And that was through a lot of conversation with our friends at the SAU as well. So we felt like it was the right thing to do because, just starting school, they've gotten other supplies and whatnot. We believe it's super important to their success in middle school life that we wanted to budget for them rather than pass that expense directly on to the families, because that's how we've been doing it for the past couple moons. The other part of that is the 8th grade theatrical experience, which is currently used for send our 8th graders to see A Christmas Carol. After they read it, discuss it, work on it, they then get to go see it live. And it's an awesome experience where the kids all get dressed to the nines, and go out and watch a show, and having them see potentially sometimes their first show live is a very cool experience where they get to just soak it in. And after that, they come back and then do more work discussing the play and the story. So that's the also increase there where we've had historically we've charged the students to do that, but again, something that we do annually. We believe in it very strongly, so we want to put it as part of our regular budget.
Have there been issues, and I'm guessing there have, but how frequent is it that there's a student that may not be involved, or there's a challenge in involving that student due to, financial constraints?
Sure. There always is. You got to figure out of, I would say, average number of 250 kids in a grade, that there's always some students who have some financial difficulties, and we always find a way to make sure that they are covered. So in this case, it wouldn't be something they'd be concerned about at all. Everyone would be able to go without question.
So with the Camp Lincoln, $50 a kid, how is that offset from the fee that the parents are charged?
They wouldn't be.
They wouldn't be charged
Yeah.
at all.
Correct.
Oh, I missed that part.
Sorry, so that would be,
Oh.
they come to sixth grade, and that would just be part of the program. We wouldn't have to ask for any monies to go.
Okay, that makes more sense to
Oh,
me.
appreciate you asking.
Yeah,
Always been that kind of field trip that you
that you paid for.
paid for, you collected the money, you made sure kids who couldn't go.
Yeah,
We're
that's
covered.
why,
Somehow, maybe.
I was wondering what was gonna be
Embarrass the
so
kid.
different that we were, okay.
May I ask,
Certainly.
what historically have 8th grade students paid to go to the Christmas Carol?
So the cost off the top of my head, because we included everything right in there, probably be around $25 a person, something like that. The cost of transportation goes up and up and up, so that's part of it too, is sending all 250 kids to the show.
Okay, keep going it.
Okay. The next one is, there's a couple library items here, and trying to be very careful about our costs on the library because everything's going so digital. There's still something special about the kids having books in their hands, and if you haven't had a middle schooler come to the middle school and they get there and they see how big it is as compared to the elementary, just because bigger, more kids, there's a lot of excitement in the air. Oh my God, look around here. So we try to balance having access to hard copy books, but also getting as many digital materials as possible, because that is a sign of the times, of course. So when you're seeing there's a 1,000 up in library supply cost increases, yes, but being very careful in the next line item, books library, it's going down 2,000 because we don't need things like encyclopedias anymore, especially not the hard copies. We have so much digital access, so we're not renewing those things. That's going down 2,000. With the new equipment library, we don't need any new equipment in there other than, and we kind of skipped over the audio-visual. We have Sora that's being absorbed by the district. Sora is one of our online reading tools that's going through the district, which is awesome because all schools are using it. The district picked up that expense. And following Marie's lead on this, we're always trying to find ways that if multiple schools can use the same resource, we get a better pricing for everyone to use it. And the new equipment I mentioned was, we would like to get a short throw projector for the library because we do utilize it for district meetings, PD opportunities, so it just makes the room a lot more functional.
So you want a short throw projector
In the library,
in
correct.
the library?
Would we think of that as just being an LCD projector?
So we have them in our classrooms, and we continue to upgrade those classrooms as we go with the
Right,
short throws. Yeah, we always have them in one spot. Right now, we have one that we wheel around in the library.
So it's on a mobile cart?
That is
Is that what
correct.
you want again, or you want
We'd like
put
to
it
get
in
the short throw,
ceiling?
which goes ceiling.
Yeah, in the ceiling.
Exactly
And
right.
once again, I'm gonna say, why isn't this part of the tech budget? Since I've said that for everything else that was a camera-type object, why isn't it part of the tech budget? But
Sounds like,
I'll get that question answered. It's just out there. I hope you get your short. That's a great projector, and have it in the ceiling is where it should be, not on a cart with wires and kids sitting on cords. And
honestly, usually one of the biggest problems is that people trip over the cord when they are going across the floor as they walk by. Yeah, we don't need teachers going down there either.
Yeah.
The next one is supplies general for middle school. It's down 8,000, which is pretty awesome savings. So Ken Anderson's had an initiative about cloud printing in the middle school, which was admittedly a little tough at first, but we've come around to it and understanding the purpose behind it because we've had such a nice savings there. We've gone from having a classroom printer in every classroom to 5 or 6 major, like large industrial ones that are around the building in the different areas that everyone can have access to, and they just use their key fob after they print it, go over to the machine and get it in any place in the building, which is pretty sweet. So it's been a really nice savings in not having toner for all these different printers, just getting toner for one main printer that we have 5 of. So it's been pretty awesome savings. The next one is an increase for the 8th grade end-of-year activities. Historically, we've gone to Canterbury Lake Park, but we changed it up last year to, we wanted to keep the kids all together. It's definitely a huge change for us, but after doing it, keeping all the kids on our campus, we got some cool activities going on outside for them. I got some rental stuff from Grand Rental. And again, Canopy was great for a long time, but one of our problems is that once they got there, they just scattered. So it was no longer like a celebration together. So a lot of the feedback I got was positive about them being out back, having a lot of fun. We got a dunk tank. Mr. Callen was the very first person to go in that dunk tank, and there was quite a line to help him get into the water. But teachers were lining up for it. It was a really good time outside.
See that as a fundraiser.
You could use that as a fundraiser for any number of us, probably.
Mattress, dump the superintendent.
Yeah, we had burgers and dogs for the kids, so everybody was all out there all together, and that was really the purpose of it. So
So
it
it's
was
like a
cool.
field day celebration. Carnival.
Exactly right. Yeah, so that cost is for the different materials that we need to rent. Again, burgers and dogs. We had some cool treats out there. It was a good time.
So I can speak to that as having a son who graduated from 8th grade last year, and all the disappointment that, kind of erupted of losing the Canopy trip. It was devastating, to a lot of these kids. And I think you guys did an amazing job pulling that together. Nobody really knew what to expect, and they built some great memories. It was a really cool thing.
Thanks.
You did an awesome, awesome job.
We had a lot of fun with we had like a ninja course that was inflatable, a lot of challenges going on, a lot of teachers challenging the kids and vice versa, so.
And there was a lot more, they start their middle school with Camp Lincoln doing team building, and then they end it in the backyard of their school where, again, they have that interaction with each other instead of, I thought it was a really good idea.
Thanks.
Good.
Yeah, it worked out great.
So can I ask you, is that 2,800 above what Canopy would cost, or that's
And I'm glad you asked. So for Canopy, we actually pass that cost along to the students as well. So instead of, again, them having to pony up money to go to Canopy Lake for the cost of the trip, and then for students to have money to buy the things and do the activities there, it was none of that. It was, now we're just taking on the cost of just the tools and rental things that we need to have right in our backyard.
Okay.
Decreases the transportation cost too.
Honestly, another thing that occurred was we found that 250 kids going to Canopy, it started to be who had money to do what there.
Right.
Little case of the haves and have-nots. And we want to try to get rid of that and level the playing field out back.
I like that approach.
I like the idea of finishing there and having a good time together, and you can keep track of everybody.
You mentioned things full circle.
Good job.
Thanks. It's definitely not just a me thing. A lot of discussion at the SAU level of maybe to shake up how we did things.
That's great.
Excellent.
Questions or concerns? Anything else for Mitch?
If I could share
This is
just one more,
about it.
if I could share just one more thing.
Sure.
It's not on here, but I just wanted to share it as we're talking about the budget. Something we've been trying to figure out is our CIAs. Are we familiar with CIAs at the middle school and high school level? Okay, our curriculum and assessment leaders. So the high school and middle school have separate CIAs that we have for each content area. And as Ms. Sherman could probably attest, back in the day, it could have been, what would we have called them? Those in charge of
Department head.
department heads, so CIAs now for the high school and middle school. We have them now because we want to have some more teacher voice and the things that are going on, like a liaison between those working on curriculum, those delivering their curriculum, and all things in between teacher concerns. So they've worked out really awesome at both schools, but we were trying to figure out how to pay these folks to do the work. So in conjunction with the high school, with Mr. Vacareza, with the superintendent, assistant superintendent, we were able to evaluate positions that were currently unfilled. So we were able to use those unfilled positions, and between them, again, high school and middle school working together, use those monies to pay for the CIA positions. So that's something we're going to do this year, and we'd like to, again, do it next year as well.
You're funding a stipend for these people,
That's-
funding a stipend, but let's just talk middle school.
Sure.
These are team leaders or school leaders that are also in a classroom totally.
That's correct.
And you have to figure out how you're gonna balance that with them being able to be a classroom teacher and a leader.
That is correct. Yeah, they've already been doing this work. They're doing a tremendous job.
Yeah.
We get to meet with them on a regular basis. But it is definitely work above and beyond their current call of duty, which is why it's a stipended position.
They're not doing, what's the word I want? They're not watching a teacher teach, are they?
Observations, walkthroughs, those kind of things. So they do it on a limited basis, and if they do need it and they need support from us, then we will find coverage in their class.
Right. If you asked me as a team leader, if you've got this period free and you don't have something else you have to do, or could you take your prep period and come watch me teach and give me some suggestions on, I use my hands too much, or, so they have that opportunity,
Correct.
but are not being asked to evaluate.
No, definitely not evaluative.
Okay.
And that's being funded, the stipends are being funded by currently unfilled
Yeah,
positions.
in
That is
salary
correct.
line, in the
Inside.
salary line, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So-
so.
Yeah, no,
sorry.
please.
So with, as the senior leadership team with our superintendent, assistant superintendent, director of curriculum, director of special education, we had been, we are in the process, we had already started, but we are currently in the process of looking at all the positions in the entire district, what is no longer needed, what additional positions we need, and with the principals, obviously, identifying where are gaps and what positions have been there that have been unfilled for over a year, or perhaps that they just got unfilled by somebody that left, but the reorganization in curriculum or in anything is gonna leave that position no longer needed. So we're trying to reevaluate the entire district, that, so we can reutilize available funds that are already in the budget and not come up with new requests. So we are in the process of doing that. Like Mitch said, we work with Mr. Vacareza and and Mr. Menses to identify these two positions. One is from the high school, one is from the middle school. That we can convert and we can reallocate to fund these stipends.
How many stipends are you thinking would be appropriate?
So, just speak for the middle school, we have
Yeah, please.
we have 6, and they're paid at $3,000 each. So 6 CIAs. I believe the high school has a few more, and they have slightly more responsibility as well. So there's a bit of a difference there, but it's not
So
dramatic.
what are the 6? Math, science,
Social
social
studies,
studies,
ELA,
ELA,
Unified Arts, World Language.
world language. Nothing, no special ed,
We do not have one for special ed.
okay.
That's
gotcha.
a little different because it's
Yeah,
really
I
focused on the
get- yeah,
curriculum.
I get it. Different kind of dynamic.
Different animal.
there, yeah. And so you're calling them CIAs,
That is correct.
which means?
Curriculum and assessment. It also sounds really cool.
Curriculum and assessment,
You got it.
In assessment,
not and.
not
Okay.
and.
CIAs was-
Well,
Curriculum in assessment,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Not
this is-
department head, not master teacher.
No.
So I'm a CIA.
You're a CIA.
I belong to the CIA.
You may have mentioned this, but this is something that these teachers have already been doing and not being,
Compensated.
they're not being compensated for and currently?
No, this is something that they've applied for to
Oh,
be.
okay.
Yeah, this is outside of their scope, so it's something additional. And it's,
Did we do it and not get paid for it?
That's
Did
what I
we-
was asking. Are they
That's-
already
yeah.
doing this? And-
Every master teacher helped somebody else. Every master teacher took time out of already busy day and went to help another.
And were you
in your own-
not compensated?
We got smiles and maybe a coffee from the teacher that you were helping, but no, it was not a position. We haven't had department heads, well, I've been retired 10 years.
There's still deans though at the high school.
there were deans.
They're
Got it.
gone now.
Now they're called FBIs?
Oh.
That's right, and you got the theme.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's that
Okay.
restructuring piece, we understand that, but I'm really glad you've got some people coming in to, it really helps younger staff, and sometimes it helps a master teacher just say, you know, I can't seem to get this lesson down straight, or I wanna try this new approach, but I'm uncomfortable, especially with technology. You know, sometimes a younger teacher has better with the technology than an older teacher. Come in and just give me a hand here so I can figure out what I'm doing. Or I don't need your help, but thanks for standing up for science. You know?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what it's doing. It's giving a voice to every content area.
Right, that's great, that's good.
And the principals of the schools determine who the CIAs are? Is it kind of a matriculate, how's that?
Sure, definitely not determined in that sense, is that we had teachers put out almost like a regular application for a job opportunity.
Perfect, perfect.
Had an interview and had, again, as Ms. Sherman could attest, it was the most challenging decision I've had to make within the first month when I took over the middle school as principal, was deciding between amazing colleagues who were all very qualified for the position.
Yeah. Good, thanks for telling us about that, because
Yeah.
we didn't know. I didn't know that, and I thought I had my finger on the pulse here, buddy.
You do now.
Better than ever. Anything else for Mitch? Keep doing good stuff down there, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Nice job.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. I also have to say that Mitch is very good with his budget and very organized and he always has the right questions and is very collaborative.
He was a great classroom teacher.
He's very collaborative.
You're not hearing the compliments, sir.
I think you need to speak louder.
He was a great young classroom teacher.
Love the classroom. Happy to help anytime there.
Awesome.
My daughter could attest to that as well.
Looking for substitute.
My kids too.
Gee.
But I'm not substituting.
I haven't called you yet.
No, you haven't. I just.
Yet. Did you hear that yet?
Come in and help me.
How are you
do
for
such
driving a
and
bus?
such. No, but I come in and teach it. Sounded good.
What if we pull Mark out of retirement?
Hey now, let's move on.
All right, we are down to, Maria's gonna do the SAU presentation, because superintendent is ill. And we had one more on the schedule, but I think we're gonna put that off. We were supposed to also hear transportation is part of this, but we'll just put that maybe next time.
And the reason, again, the reason why we're putting transportation out is nothing to with us, it's due to the transportation companies. We put out an RFP, only one company put out a bid.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to hear from them to see if they can match. So only one company bid for regular transportation, 2 companies bid for special education transportation. One of them is the current company that we're using, and the other one was our regular transportation company. So we approached them and see if we can,
Right.
one can match the other one.
So hopefully we'll have something on the
So,
10th.
but we're at the mercy
Yeah,
of
yeah, all right, we'll
the
just,
transportation
so,
companies.
I like my handy dandy calendar, so I moved it down.
With our SAU budget, a couple of reallocations. When we started our new SAU 2 years ago, the budget was put by my predecessor, business administrator. As we have learned more of how we now function as SAU 50 or SAU 106 instead of SAU 55. The first budget was put into 3 categories. One was the superintendent, the other one was the business office, and the other one was human resources. We really are a one big team here. We do not have departments. We are SAU 106, and we try and strive every day to work as a team and do everything together. So the superintendent and I sat down, looked at the entire budget, and we decided to just leave everything under the superintendent office and be one SAU budget. As you can see, it's an increase of $21,100. The majority of that increase is we do want to remodel this room. We are using this room on a daily basis, multiple meetings. This is one of the most used spaces in this district, and it's not functional. It's not functional. Sometimes we have here up to 30 to 35 people in training at once, so it's just not functional. So we're looking to buy modular furniture, as well as obviously replacing all the wire speakers for wireless speakers. We are putting a $20,000 placeholder for that. We are getting quotes for both the furniture and the technology. Ken is helping us with the technology. Kelly Salvage and Terry are looking for the furniture. They are actually getting a lot of quotes because we need to get a very good deal. So we are tapping into all the consortiums in actually New Hampshire, and now we are part of the Massachusetts Purchasing Consortium because we just try to get the best deals that we can to make very good use to our money. So again, it's a placeholder of $20,000 that we're looking to put into that. We don't know if it's gonna be a multi-year project or if we actually can make it happen with that.
So where are you putting that?
So
I see
New equipment.
on the second page, bottom, SAU new equipment,
New equipment.
10.5 increase, and then,
yeah, so we did have in that budget.
Excuse me.
So
I already have.
here. So if we start
Oh, I
at the
hear it.
top, yeah, so the SAU Office Professional Services, that is moving, we had that under the Human Resources line,
Right.
the 11,500, so we're just moving it from the Human Resources again to the Superintendent because that's where we're gonna hold our budget. Then the $2,000 for SAU postage, the United States Postal Services is increasing the rates. We did have to replace our meter because it was probably, how old was it, 15 years old, 12 years old?
The lease was up 7 years ago.
Yeah, and the lease was 5 years, yeah, so it was 12 years old. It wasn't working anymore, so we had to upgrade it, so that's the $2,000 increase. Then we have this $3,200 decrease in natural gas. That's because all utilities we're moving all utilities to the facilities budget. So we have one central location and Carl is in charge of it as we negotiate prices, which
so you're
is another
taking it out
story.
of this budget and putting it in
And put it into the
facilities.
facilities budget.
Gotcha.
All the utilities are gonna be on there.
So
the
electric,
facilities.
gas, gotcha.
Electric, gas,
For every building and Every building, every facility,
Yes.
including this one, okay?
Everything, all utilities are
Yep.
gonna be under the
Yep.
facilities. SAU books, our superintendent is very big in training, professional development. He has worked with the entire leadership team very extensively in bringing us all together under one vision and one mission. And obviously, as you know him, he has nothing but the kids in his heart, so he has requested actually $2,000 to buy this year's book that we're gonna be working together for our leadership team. That 10,500 is the additional portion that we're requesting for the equipment, which completes the 20,000. So in that account, we have 9,500, which is what we used this year to buy the fingerprinting machine that we had to buy for SAU 106. So we are adding at 10,500 to complete the 20,000 that we're hoping to utilize for that.
The boardroom's not 20,000, it's really 10.5.
No, well,
20.
like I said, we are still getting quotes. I think it's actually, it would be more than the 20,000, but again, if we need to do it in stages, we're willing to add. We're just trying to find the best solution for the most economical price that we can find, so we're still.
So, yeah, they're increasing that line by 10.5, so that line is
Becomes a
at
total of.
Is now
right.
20.
20, gotcha. That's on the second large printout page near the
Yeah.
bottom, highlighted. Yeah.
So that is, yeah, the equipment. What else we have here? Electric, SAU booths, and the new equipment is 10,500. Then we have $20,000 under the miscellaneous expenses, which again, is part of it is reallocation from the business line and the human resources line. These are funds that are, first, we added the retirement celebration because that was not in the budget. This year, we covered it by some funds that we were able to locate, but we want to actually add it into the budget and have it under the superintendent's office to celebrate our retirees. And then the other, like I said, the other portion of it, the other 10,000 is just a reallocation from the business and human resources to, it's just for employee-related matters. The $5,000 is, again, the part of that 10,000 reallocation from human resources, and the 6,500, same thing, moving from human resources to the superintendent.
So the total increase is 21,000. Which is furniture, there's this room. So that's
Furniture,
what
yeah.
you started by saying. This SAU room.
Yeah.
This is the original furniture.
Furniture and celebration.
I'm confused
So the
about that.
celebration had not been in the prior.
It's just an overall reallocation
Yeah.
where
We
we identify
push some
funds
other
that we no longer need, like, for example, the fingerprint.
Yes,
machine.
yes, yes.
So you got it?
I'm following that. Yep, sorry,
We
slow in the
just try
uptake.
to get everything that we have, reallocate and reutilize whatever we need.
Yep.
What is this district commitment? I'm just curious. Purchasing material for staff, under the 20,000 miscellaneous. District retirement celebration, district commitments?
That is Chris's wording.
Okay.
Just what he meant.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably probably not. So we have our leadership retreat once a year
Gotcha.
that we do, is usually 2 or 3 days, 2.5 days, that
Okay.
entire leadership, which is
Yep.
principals, assistant principals, our
Gotcha.
SAU leadership team here. So that's our annual commitment.
Is odd wording.
Yeah.
Has the district celebration historically been all expense paid for everybody who attends?
The
The
retirement.
retirement? No.
Yeah,
No, there were tickets sold.
tickets
In
sold.
fact, we sold, I can speak for this year or other years, we sold tickets, and that just helped to offset it. Certainly didn't cover it,
Yeah.
but it was, at least we were bringing in some revenue, because we charged $40 a ticket for, not for the retiree, they got,
Right.
they got their own ticket free.
Right.
But everybody else, including all the committee members, every principal, every school board member, every budget committee member that attended paid $40. And so we brought in,
Some.
Yeah, it's
3,400,
obviously
yeah,
not
it was-
self-funded, but
yeah,
We-
we didn't sell, and I knew we couldn't self-fund it. If we did, we would have had to have charged
A lot more.
at least twice or maybe 3 times more, and
yeah,
it
I
was a
think
little afternoon celebration. It was. But
Where
we
does
do-
that usually take place?
This year we had it at Zorvino's. And we did 2 years of retirees because we were behind.
COVID,
We did 20 because of COVID and 21 because of the COVID issue. We celebrated all of those. We're over 50 people and a good number of them came to the event. It was very, very nice. Good.
Is the goal to do it by annual now?
We still need to catch up. We haven't got we'll have a plan eventually. We haven't met as a committee. I'm gonna stay committed to continuing to help with that, if I'm allowed. I think I will be. Because we still need to catch up with 22 and the people that would be retiring in 23. So we might consider doing it in September of 23
To recognize both.
to get both, and then we'd have money in a budget. We weren't be trying to find the money. We'd have money budgeted to cover that, and then we should be back
on track.
on track for the 24 retirees to celebrate it, maybe in June, although people liked it in September. They had a few months off and they liked coming then, so, yeah, we got behind. So,
Any other questions about SAU?
yeah, I'd like to see this furniture replaced, to be my humble opinion. Been looking at Mauve for over, how many years? How many years has this building been here?
I think we need new
That's a
chairs.
couple chairs,
Yeah,
yeah.
the more comfortable chairs.
Yeah, well, I don't mind, yeah, oh, the ones that broke, that was
Yeah.
fun. You were sitting in and all of a sudden you're down on the floor. Yeah. It was a great design in the beginning, I think.
Yeah.
Mike was part of that, he was
And you have served for how long?
longer
A few
than.
years.
A few years. He
He
doesn't
just
to
sounds like
say
he's
how
getting
many
out of
years.
prison. How many years have you served for?
School board chair, SAU chair, budget committee chair, it's been everything, so, yeah, it'll be good to get this refixed. We have
How old is this?
Before me.
Wasn't
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was when the building was first built, and we moved in, and everything was this color, the staplers were this color.
Not for big.
We still have them.
And
So in
then-
1989, when I was the first student
No.
rep for the
It might be back in fashion, right?
PTSA,
Yeah.
I mean,
it was in this room.
You wait long enough, it
1989.
So
usually does,
89,
like,
it's gotta be before
As
I
a
was gonna say
student.
1984, that's my guess, but 89.
89, yeah.
84, it could be. We could task the business manager,
I can
find
definitely
out the
look
actual
at that,
year,
yeah.
because it's a building.
I shall
That's when
Old
the
enough,
building
old
was
enough.
built. When we moved from
84 was
Atkinson.
already here, 'cause my husband graduated in 84.
Yeah,
so-
it could be
Did I
84.
hold on
It was
to
already
any of
here.
mine from like the 90s?
Okay,
Hold on to
any
yours.
other business other
I
than
didn't
doing
know I did
a
get rid of stuff.
walk down memory lane of
Probably wasn't
when
that
we all
long.
graduated?
I finally got
I won't tell you when I did.
A longer walk?
A little longer walk, not much.
I got right
Any
back
other
on the
business to come
bandwagon.
before us? If not, looking at the future dates, we have a meeting Thursday, November 10th, 7 o'clock. That's our next budget meeting, and it should be, let's see, who's up? Curriculum and professional learning. The high school will be here, student services and special ed will be here, maintenance and facilities, that's gonna be a long night. And maybe, if we're lucky, transportation. You can see we're getting to the end of the we've got some considering to do. You know, you gotta look at all the big picture here as we go along, make some decisions, so, working together is better than working alone, is that what I said at the beginning?
Yeah. To give you a heads up, the facilities budget is looking high,
Yeah,
very high.
What is?
facilities, maintenance of
Supplies.
facilities.
Utilities, everything has.
Yeah, and especially when you
if not
put
triple.
everything in the budget, which is, I think, where it should be, not have electricity all over these budgets. It's really hard to parse out how much you really spend when, so it's better but it's kind of shocking when you see it all in one budget too, so.
I also wanted to let you know that actually I spoke with Ken after the elementary schools presented. Ken is actually now working with the principals at elementary. I didn't know there was a need for middle, so probably he will now reach to middle and high school principals for the overhead projectors and sound needs. So he's working
Get us a
with the
good price.
principals.
And those are desperately needed.
He's taking it out. FYI.
Yes, she's taking it out of her budget and everything is gonna go, whatever needs are identified, we will put it all on the technology.
Perfect.
So his budget keeps going. But
It's not my fault.
that's right, but then you get a good price, he knows the equipment,
Yeah.
Get the right
hopefully
equipment.
somebody, right, get the right piece. He's got the knowledge, not just pick it out of a catalog.
Mitch's $1,000 projector versus Nancy's $7,000 projector. I was in my head making a little note.
That's
like,
right,
gosh.
that's right,
That was a
so.
hu- I thought the
there's a
same
very
Let's
big
see what,
difference
let's
there.
see what he can
That's
come
why-
up with.
that's
That's
why-
right, that's right. I want people off those portable cots with those wires when you have big presentations. In Pollard School, that's a lot of kids sitting on floors or wherever with wires and cots. They, oh,
We're almost there. We're almost
hey.
Part of gym class.
Almost there. And also, well, we also, the superintendent and myself and assistant superintendent, we meet with all these presenters before they come to you. The day that we had the elementary school principals presenting, I had to run out. My son had an emergency, so I wasn't present, so I couldn't be through the presentation and ask these questions that I usually will ask, so I apologize, that was on me.
Don't
But
apologize.
it was just an
It's
emergency.
it's our budget, it's our job, it's this group's job to ask those kinds of questions.
Absolutely,
You know me, I'm gonna ask.
You have no idea how much I appreciate your questions, your insights, your collaboration when there's things to look at, and I do really appreciate that.
One more thing to mention, you heard when Carrie did the roll call, we do have a Plasto rep, Liz Costa. Michael and I extended her an invitation. She was not able to be here tonight. But so Liz is the new member from Plasto, so we'll be at a
Excellent.
full complement. When Todd comes back, there'll be 9 of us, so that's good. I'm very happy about Liz stepping up. That was a really good catch, and she brings some insight also. She's an educator. She's been on the school board. She's been around. And so she, I think, will help us as we finalize this budget, so.
Excellent.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm going to adjourn and say goodnight. Ken, thank you very
Good
much.
There's one more thing
Oh,
that I
wait,
wanna
Ken,
say.
I'm sorry.
The living school board chair, I don't know if you all are aware that he presented his resignation today. He reached out to me and he wanted to make sure that he thanks all of you for supporting him. He has personal reasons why he decided to resign, but he wanted to make sure that I communicate to you about his resignation and his appreciation to the budget committee and the support during his time here.
And as Maria mentioned, we have unions negotiating. We have 2 groups that have gone to impasse. That should be a concern to us, concern as community members and parents, that we get those kinds of things worked out and settled, and that people feel appreciated and respected for the work that they do here. So hopefully we can get that organized and settled. So any encouragement you can give to your school board members to say, let's get this settled if we can. If that's it, good night, everyone.
That was a little bit rough at the